Welcome to another commentary and a new season of BSL Hasuleague. This is BSL Hasuleague round of 32, Group C starting off. Unfortunately, from the round of 32, there's a reading Hasuleague chat. There were a lot of withdrawals this season for I'm not sure what reason. I should actually, by the way, the header here will say BSL 17 because I do not have the new casting assets. This is in fact BSL 18. For those wondering why I'm not casting Pro League this season, I'm taking a season off of the Pro League casting because it's really challenging to get it in, honestly. It's a big time commitment and it's on low time resources that I have to begin with. So I'm hoping if I take a season off, maybe I can hop into Pro League next season. But in the meantime, I have dedicated to Hasuleague. Unfortunately, yeah, there have been a lot of withdrawals. So we'll have to see what the round of 16 looks like. But we see a lot of returning guys. Like, we have Tousan coming back, we have Fisheye coming back, we have Do Life back. Erdman is not decided to withdraw from this upcoming season, so the champion is not returning. We actually saw Ranged, I think, go all the way up to Pro League, and a lot of people graduate to higher levels. This is, I think, so last season felt like a bit of an anomaly where it felt like we had a lot of guys from Ghost and Pro League, and just it was an insane level of competition. This season, it feels like we're back to what standard Hasuleague is, and I don't mean that as an insult, more just we don't have like the variance of range where we have guys that are like 2300, 2400 craziness, like very solid A, borderline S rank playing. It looks like we are seeing a gateway opener and a scout. This is on Apocalypse, by the way. Interior base barracks and a refinery start here from Tousan, playing a bit defensively against BagelPirate, who I'm not familiar with, but I love that name. What a fantastic username. But anyway, with everybody out, I think Jumper is playing, and if Jumper is in fact staying in the game pool, looks like Cybernetic score here to follow, he's the man to beat, I think. But I could see Fisheye giving him a good challenge. Fisheye has taken second place the season before last. That was a big shot, and I think he's the next strong competitor. Do Life and Tousan obviously could give him trouble. And I'm trying to think if there's other guys. I'm sure I'm missing some guys out there. That was just when I was kind of overviewing the list, the guys that really stuck out. We have Osh Ball playing again. He's really fun to watch from Brood War Clan League. And with all of an introduction, let's just start getting into the game itself. So looks like we've got the one gate opener. We got a cybernetic core building. The SCV was able to get the scout in. It looks like that probe is making its way back pretty early, and we are going to see a factory opener here from Tousan. So Tousan wanting to play it a little, so he's not going for one barracks into expansion, a single marine into expansion, playing a little bit more cautiously. It looks like it is going to be a Dragoon to start from BagelPirate, make sure he can have the assault to get rid of that SCV floating around his base. We've got a handful of marines making their way up, but they're currently just hanging out that natural expansion. Every once in a while you will see that SCV cycle back and an attempt at the front door assault. We aren't, okay, the range just now starting. I was going to say we don't see range just starting yet, but it looks like we do have range filtering. Tousan just keeping an eye on the worker count right this second. He really needs to get up here and confirm range right now, and he could be in trouble because the Dragoon might be able to box him out depending on, well, it looks like he wasn't right on top of it, but the SCV sees the range, got the information he's looking for, is going to go ahead and back out. Now we got 3 Marines out on the front. The probe wanting to sneak in, so he is going to be able to confirm the bunker, but also able to slide right by those Marines on the front, and they're going to be able to confirm that it's in fact machine shop first. And knowing that it's machine shop first actually gives BagelPirate a lot of open options. It looks like he's going to drop a Nexus behind this, but even with the Nexus drop, looks like he's going to get this SCV in open field as well. What he can do is he can go ahead and move his Dragoons with range on the way towards the front and potentially pin in early aggressive, what would be early aggressive vulture play. So SCV's been wiped out. He confirmed, I believe, the natural expansion. There's that bunker with 3 Marines in it. And let's see if BagelPirate just opts to utilize that advantage, knowing that it was machine shop first. It looks like it's going to be a siege tank to start. He can go ahead and cycle out, get some of that free bunker damage, particularly when range kicks in. Holding right this second, wanting to deny additional scout. Tousan very cleverly sneaking the SCV along the southern path. Unfortunately, with that Dragoon in between, still might be able to box him in. It's going to take a bit of micro and a bit of heads up, though. So BagelPirate getting the initial shot, not able to box that SCV out. So the SCV going to be able to crawl up, see that Nexus, in fact, building, and a second gateway now in place. And we have a third pylon already. So we got the second pylon. It looks like we have the Nexus, or there's a third pylon, the natural expansion. Third pylon sitting there, and now it's going to be 2 gate and a robo as far as follow-up plays. So both players getting the information they were looking for as far as a follow-up. Tousan dropping a very rapid second gas. I'm going straight to Siege Tech. This is kind of the old school safer build, and it looks like he's going to drop that armory. So probably going to play towards +1. And so he's got the two options here where he could do a 5 factory flood and go for +1 assault at close position. This is, I think, a pretty solid map for that. Once, if you can get above that ramp point. The Dragoon actually doing a little bit of damage, but taking some initial hits, and not even went into base armor is gonna be able to kill that SCV as it's returning, though. A little bit of mistake there by Tousan not sending it the far way around to avoid that Dragoon. But the bunker stands. Now we got 2 siege tanks in the front, so Tousan is honestly not going to fear a lot unless there was a Reaver follow-up, and I don't think he has any reason to believe that there's going to be a sizable Reaver follow-up. Should actually have a decent amount of siege tanks, even off the one machine shop, as long as he maintains continuous production behind that. It looks like he is dropping a second factory, so let's see if he decides to go for that follow-up flood or not. In the meantime, we got a Citadel of a Dune and an Observatory to follow up. So there is the potential. So we got 3-gate robotics with an Observatory, and the Observatory flat out on the front. It looks like we're going to see a quick third here from BagelPirate to maintain that economic edge, but I would not be shocked to see a transition to Dark Templar drop. This is also possibly just to get Rapid Speed Zealot to deal with the potential +1 weapons push that might come down along the way. So third factory now established, an initial Goliath just in case there was a drop out in the field. But I want to point out Tousan with a critical, so the Academy just now building, but a critical lack of detection at this stage. And we do have that Templar Archives here in the background. It is possible we're going to see kind of like a 2.5 base Arbiter transition here from BagelPirate. And it looks like he might transition into that because he's holding with this probe. He's got a lot of this tech bunched up, so depending on where that ComSat lands might spoil all of that information. But he's got that probe holding potentially to drop that. The Observer making its way forward. It's going to get an eyeful. There's absolutely no anti-detection here aside from these Goliaths holding. It looks like range also being upgraded with them as well. And we are seeing a starport drop potentially to make their way to +2 weapons. So I presume this is going to be a 2-1 timing here from Tousan. So now sweeping in, seeing just the 2 siege tanks in that bunker. Going to move up, potentially see the third factory. Can I see it? So yeah, Tousan sees the tech. So knows that there's a Templar Archives down there, which should lead him to believe that, okay, maybe this is a push towards 2.5, 3 base Arbiter. But we have a couple Dark Templar being constructed. Do we have a dropship? I don't see a dropship as well. But I'm not sure this is really going to play out for... Well, we'll see, because right now we do have an engineering bay constructed, but we have no turrets currently on the front. We only have the double ComSat to provide detection for Tousan. And Dark Templar, well positioned, could ruin Tousan's day. But if it's going to come on the ground, I think Tousan's going to have turrets up in plenty of time in forward position. He's playing very light with siege tanks on the front. He's actually kept a lot of this attack force behind in the main, anticipating some form of drop. It looks like a second machine shop being built. Looks like we do have that turret on the way, and the 2 High Templar. This is going to be close, actually. So we got the 2 High Templar, and unfortunately for Tousan, this actually might be enough to just break the front, because he doesn't really have much of a seal here. Yeah, he's got the detection, but even with the detection, these siege tanks are towards the rear. So this could do a lot of damage if it was a full commit, but it looks like it's just going to be the Dark Templar hanging out at the third right this second. That still might be honestly enough to sneak in and get some damage done. The Observer going to be pushed out. Maybe Tousan just trying to hide his numbers and invite this. So the Dark Templar are making their way up. First hit, looks like they're going to back up. But yeah, because there just wasn't a lot of an assault, there just wasn't much of an assault force, nothing happening there. +1 weapons is finished. The one nice thing about these Dark Templar was without mobile detection and just with that ComSat, it's going to have to be a slow walk. Can he? Oh, BagelPirate back out. Loses 1 Dark Templar right there. Ah, unfortunate, because that would have been great to slow down or deny that third base. And instead, Tousan able to just ComSat, get a nice walk in now to the third. And that was a lot of gas to commit right there. We do have the Stargate dropped. 4 additional gateways. We got a lot of gateways actually behind this. I'm not seeing the Templar Archives as of yet. We also have Double Forge, but the Double Forge is not rolling right this second to maintain the upgrade differential. And let's see, Tousan's kind of in a position where he could go up to 5 factory right this second if he wanted to. He's got the double armory working right now, but he's also floating a lot of resources. He's got an SEV in position. He could go ahead and drop that third. A handful of vultures starting to wander out in the field. I don't know that they're going to find much territory to assault right here. They're going to make their way to the south. Do we have a dropship in play? No, it looks like we just have that starport But we have the Dragoons along this edge. Should be able to, with some response, but BagelPirate not responding in time. So the Vulture is able to sneak in, but what a clutch pylon last second to at least defend the natural expansion. Photon cannons on the way. So a few probes going to die here, but honestly, that could have been a lot worse. The Dragoons a little bit late as far as the follow-up, and it looks like we do have Tousan going ahead and grabbing that third here at the 6 o'clock location. A lot of Zealots in between. 3 gas up for BagelPirate, so it looks like he's just going to go for 3 base play. We do have the Arbiter up and Stasis being researched, and now the 5 factories being dropped for Tousan to line up with the +2/+1 armor upgrade. So I presume he's going to go for the assault from there. BagelPirate in a comfortable supply spot. He is going to have at least an Arbiter out in the field with the Stasis to be able to respond. So it's going to come down to how clutch at least a Stasis is as far as the follow-up. And he's going to have a, with all of these gateways producing all of these units, he's going to have a pretty sizable unit count. I'm thinking about the timing of this, depending on how pokey Tousan is with his movement, the +1 armor and +1 weapons might finish before that +2/+1 push is really in a position to create havoc. Observers spreading out for BagelPirate to keep an eye on the timing of that move out. Looks like we have some SCVs transferring here to the 6 o'clock. The other thing for Tousan is if he doesn't want to go for the +2 +1 push, what he can do is he can just sit back. He's going up to an 8 factory count. He can just sit back and get to 200 as well. And BagelPirate, it looks like anticipating that a little bit. Going to go ahead and potentially drop a 4th here. Vulture might snipe that probe before it's able to drop, and it looks like he is in fact going to be able to snipe that. So it's going to be a considerable delay, because in that instance it becomes a big foot race to get the troops up. But it looks like Tousan is moving on that 2-1 timing, at least patrolling, now seeing that there's not a 4th, feeling, okay, BagelPirate, you probably don't have enough to stop me. Shuttle is out on the field, no High Templar in it. We have Zealots with Zealot leg speed. +1 weapons and armor a little bit off, but Tousan is underneath that timing. And the first Arbiter out in the field, but it's actually well off having that Stasis. So Stasis is researched, but it just does not have the energy. But Tousan going very, very slow with this movement. He's not comp-setting ahead to see the position of the army. Now he finds the army, but he could have set up well in position, skipped a lot of the mine coverage, and moved up potentially a little bit more rapidly than this. And because of that delay, that +1 weapons, +1 armor is now going to land, which will definitely help shred some of those siege tanks. This is also buying time for that Arbiter to at least get a Stasis out. And the siege tank count isn't so large right here that it is beyond the point of a single Stasis wrecking all of Tousan's play here. Tousan positioning to the north. The Vultures are engaging the Zealots. Initial mine blowing up, but man, that's a lot of Zealots crashing right on top of the siege tanks and catching a lot of them unsieged. Pretty good mine drags into them as well, unfortunately, with this mine positioning. They're running over a minefield. So fortunately, a lot of those Zealots getting picked off. The Arbiter now has an additional Stasis, but Tousan walking in his own mines as the Zealots careening across this, and Zealots are cheap and easy to rebuild. So Tousan getting obliterated right there, donating a sizable army, might be able to stop the assault here. BagelPirate has done what he needed to do, might want to back off a little bit, especially as Vultures that, by the way, are not speed upgraded, are cycling across. We do have the 4th Nexus up, but we don't have workers saturating it just yet. Couple troops for some Zealot bombs, and it looks like BagelPirate wants blood. He still has a Stasis. Only Stasis is 2 tanks, but there's only 3 siege tanks remaining otherwise. And the Zealots getting on top of it. 2 more additional siege tanks reinforcing. BagelPirate's reinforcements well out of position, though. The Vulture's going to go ahead and sweep in and cut those off. So this might, I want to say it's an overstep, but it looks like BagelPirate doing some amazing micromanagement on that assault on the front. And so able to wipe out those siege tanks, and now he's diving into that third. And if he focus fires that, he's going to get a lot of SCV kills, and he might have an opportunity to take that Nexus down with some focus fire. We'll see. Vulture's still creating some havoc mid-map to try to slow the Zealot reinforcement to at least buy some life here. The Dragoons also getting caught up on those SCVs. They're going to get cleared out. Another, I think this is the same Arbiter making its way up. I know there was another Arbiter out in the field. The SCVs trying to defend their own lives. More mines in between. The Zealots finally going up, but it looks like this is maybe getting cleaned up. We finally have some vision. I want to say it's getting cleaned up, but never mind. Tousan supply too low, and that bunker from earlier in the game might be that last thing that just keeps him alive. And unfortunately now BagelPirate with a massive supply lead. He could honestly go for an inverted contain right here. 6 o'clock, that command center hasn't floated away. Tousan's still trying to press back into this. Finally able to clear out a lot of those troops, but we got more Zealots and more Dragoons making their way to try to punch through this. Some mines being dropped on the high ground, so BagelPirate might want to back off a little bit. In the meantime, I'm going to go ahead and grab some additional bases. Should be able to hold those for quite a bit of time. It looks like the Zealots, yeah, initially hit some mines, going to back off. That command center can re-land once the Zealots are cleared. But that was a massive hit to Tousan. More Zealots cycling their way out. I also want to point out the Forge has not continued with the upgrades. Neither have the upgrades continued for Tousan. He's looking for that 2-1 slam attack. Going to be able to see the probes making their way up to the 1 o'clock base. The Vultures trying to make their way around that embargo to go ahead and maybe engage something there. The Observer not alongside, but that's only a single Dragoon. Might be able to clear a lot of these mines simultaneously. Yeah, that's 4 mines for a single Dragoon, which actually isn't bad. So right now, BagelPirate kind of doing a chase game. Ooh, and that was still in range to get... That felt like a longer Vulture shot than it should have been. Able to keep an eye on where these units are headed. It looks like there's not a probe top left. So BagelPirate still, to seal this, might want to grab some additional bases. He's got recall upgrading, and he's got a massive supply lead. But this isn't beyond the realm of being able to catch up for Tousan. That's just kind of the nature of Terran. And he is making his way to +3 weapons right this second. So Vulture's creating some chaos here at the 12 o'clock to go ahead, or the 1 o'clock to go ahead and deny that base. Tousan also cycling out and poking the bear here up on the high ground plateau, clearing out the Zealots before they hit the mines, so peeling out a lot of army for free here, which is precisely what he needs to do to get back into this. If he can run forward, drop an EMP, and shred a lot of this. Might not make a difference though, because we got 2 Arbiters along that left-hand side, maybe going for a recall, and Tousan is somewhat overextended, engaging the front defense matrix on the front as well, and I don't think he saw the Arbiters coming in from the back end, so might be able to recall, yeah, recalling that army that was under assault, and now the Zealots in the main. Let's see if they can get on top of the factory lines. Going to be able to disrupt a few amount of SCVs. There's not a lot of minerals here left in the main. The SCVs pulling off to go ahead and defend themselves. That's buying time for the Vultures to go ahead and press in. There's not a lot. The Dragoon actually killed by the SCVs. Do not mess with those workers, man. I tell you what. And it looks like the Zealots are going to be cleaned up. So the drop not getting a lot accomplished. They're working on that machine chop as siege tanks are spawning. So unfortunately, the recall got a turret, maybe? I think that might have been a turret or maybe a supply depot right there, but did not get a lot else. And because of the lack of of procurement of an additional base and a dwindling now natural expansion and expired main, that's been 3 base production for BagelPirate, and he hasn't kept up in supply, so Tousan right back in it. Engaging mid-map defense matrix, unfortunately on the Vulture. I think he was aiming for that siege tank there. The siege tank is going to be lost, but now it's wiped out units on the front, and BagelPirate dropping on macro, trying to he's trying to get some workers out on the map to grab additional territory. The Vultures are catching them, and he has an absolute skeleton crew to try to defend here on the plateau outside his natural expansion. He's in danger of getting sealed in. However, that's not a lot of siege tanks for Tousan. He doesn't have much of a concentrated attack force. He has taken mid-map. BagelPirate trying to hold 9 o'clock, trying to sneak it there. Some photon cannons also coming up. That's going to get caught, and honestly might want to get canceled. Let's see. Yeah. So BagelPirate now taking some serious losses, and Tousan, first of all, has the upgrade advantage, which is going to get even worse here in a second as +3 weapons comes online, but is also holding a little bit of territory mid-map. Although the Vulture's not there providing some defense, but still getting some good damage done. Vulture's now swarming in. 1 siege tank down. Great stasis, though. BagelPirate, unfortunately, face-planting through some mines as far as the follow-up. I haven't seen a lot of observers to clear things out, so these Vultures creating a massive headache for him. These Vultures have really been the hero for the match for Tousan. It looks like the troops that were at the 1 o'clock location after cleaning that up have swept right back to mid-map to hold this position. Looks like some Zealots also were stasised alongside, so a little bit of friendly fire happening there. But it's just going to be a Dragoon left, and Tousan still holds mid, and all of a sudden he has a supply lead. And moving up on the high ground above the natural expansion, which this is red zone right here. Major alarms have to be going off for BagelPirate right here. He is getting that 9 o'clock base up. I don't think he has them, unless he recalls. I don't see how he's going to transfer workers to that location. Still producing some additional troops. He's a little bit light on the overall... Ooh, is this going to be an EMP? Maybe not. A little bit light on the Arbiter count and also the troop count on the front. The mines absorbing a lot. Oh, getting... These Zealots are very bunched up, so those mines actually doing more damage than they would otherwise. The Arbiter trying to harass this. We have a Goliath pitter-pattering his way forward. We have some cannons now dropping at the natural expansion almost as an emergency measure. Tousan can honestly... Well, he can run up and siege that if he wants, or he can honestly ignore that, make his way up to the third in these much more valuable bases for BagelPirate. And he'll still have to try to walk up this high ground to deal with it. The Goliath's now on the front. So a stasis dropped. It caught one Arbiter. The Marines out of the bunker. So now all the Arbiters gone as well. And BagelPirate 20 supply down. So Tousan with a heroic comeback here in the opener. Sitting outside the natural expansion. Dragoons on the rally point from the barracks, or from the, sorry, the gateways getting wiped out. And with 2 siege tanks and a few coming out of stasis in a moment, and more swarming, and +3 weapons finish, Tousan in a position to close this out. We have the emergency button of Dark Templar being produced now, but there's still, you still have that science vessel overhead, and Tousan doing a good job of patrolling it back and forth, should be able to take care of those Dark Templar as soon as they sneak out in the field. So BagelPirate somehow needs to get, honestly, I would immediately transfer these probes out to the 9 o'clock location while Tousan is potentially distracted. Although it looks like we do have a Vulture now patrolling out, is going to find that worker top left. Tousan at the 6 o'clock has got that mining, might want to grab an additional base himself, which would theoretically be at the 9 o'clock base, at which point he'd find, oh, hey, BagelPirate's right there. BagelPirate trying to sneak his troops. They're backed into the wall. You can see them trying to push back. This is a winning maneuver potentially for Tousan. Defense Matrix, all of those Dark Templar getting assaulted. The Zealots coming in piecemeal. So, and also engaging that Defense Matrix siege tank. And BagelPirate calling GG. Good luck on the very manner from BagelPirate there. GG, Tousan advancing. Unfortunately, I don't know if this was the final or whatever, because it wasn't well labeled. I will come back if there are more games in this group, but for the moment, Tousan victorious. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Great opener. Thanks for listening.